So I have another series we're about to sort of dig in. Heather and I have been talking, and one thing we've been discussing is dealing with common misconceptions of Christian. You know, a lot of times Christian people, and we paint a picture of everything's perfect, everything's all right, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing here to see, everything is just cookie cutter. And, you know, I sort of want to elaborate on that. You know, I want to go into detail and talk about it. You know, some topics that we really don't push too much. Number one of the one things we have is anger. You know, people think, well, you can't be a Christian and angry. Well, sometimes you can. You know, there's such thing as a righteous anger, and there's such thing as a not just justified anger. You know, we can be angry. The Bible says, be angry and sin not. You know, there's an instance in the Bible where it gives reference to people being angry. Jesus is an example. Jesus was in the temple and he saw them conducting business and trading and selling sacrificial elements inside of this temple. And basically Jesus got mad. He was flipping tables. He took out a whip, and I don't know if he whipped anybody, but he had a whip and he rushed people out of this temple because that was God's house. That was being turned into a place of business. It was being turned into something that it didn't need to be. And, you know, a lot of people think, you know, you can't be angry. And I disagree with that. You know, you can't have a righteous anger. If something is justified and it's happening, I think that if it's justified and there's something that's bothering you, you have a right to be angry about it. What the end result is, if you are angry, though, you have to be able to not let it affect you and bring you into sin. That's one thing a lot of us deal with. You know, when we get angry, we want to get even. We want to settle the score. We want to bring things to light and just bring everything out, throw blows, whatever you call it. You know, it's something you have to decide as a person. If you're going to be angry, you have to stop sin in its tracks. Am I going to initiate this anger and turn it into something else? The Bible goes on to say, it says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Because if you let the sun go down in your anger, it dwells up and festers. We had an instance this past week in our garage where our power went out to our fridge. Like, we had all of our meats and everything go bad, and we found it days later. So we found it, we opened that up yesterday, and we found that all the meat was ruined. All the meat had basically turned into rot, and our whole house smelled of rot. If you let anger simmer and let anger just sit and dwell, that's all it's going to do. It's going to cause a bitterness, a nastiness, a rot, a cancer, just to envelop and change how you live your life. You've got to stop. Whenever you're angry, you have to choose, we've got to settle this now. If you have a problem with somebody, talk to them about it. Hey, if talking to that one person doesn't work, under church discipline, take another person with you. You know, have somebody talk. There's got to be accountability for what you do and how you go about it. You don't react in anger. You don't react in spite. You don't react in a way that's going to sin and hurt somebody else. Because when you do that, you're just adding on and covering up one sin with another sin. And before you know it, you've got a mountain of sin you're trying to dig yourself out of. So keep that in mind. Whenever you're dealing with anger, choose to go about it the right way. You have to make a decision in your heart to do what's right.